All right, ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world, let's talk some boxing real quick here. So a lot of times we see great, everybody loves knockouts. Like for instance, we see a guy with a humongous knockout ratio. Say for instance, Deontay Wilder, right? And we say, oh, this guy, he's a tremendous beast. He's a monster. Then we have Gennady Golovkin, 92% knockout ratio. We talked the last day about El Finito Lopez compared to Oscar De La Hoya. The question really is, who are these guys knocking out, right? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare a number of boxers that you're seeing in front of you that I'm displaying, and we're going to look at their knockout ratios. Some people say that these guys are beasts. Let's see if they really were beasts, because here's the thing about it, right? If you got an 84% knockout ratio, it sounds great. But you got to ask yourself, who did this guy knock out? So we're going to look at elite boxers that these guys knocked out. Okay, let's start off with Deontay Wilder. Which elite boxer did he knock out in the heavyweight division? And as you can see here, he has not knocked out a single elite boxer. Not even one. Okay? In fact, the closest thing that Deontay Wilder has come to be fighting that was an elite boxer was Bermane Stiverne. Yeah, he dropped Bermane Stiverne, even though it didn't count for it. He did drop him in the fight. But Bermane Stiverne, he beat him by unanimous decision. He never knocked the dude out. All the other knockouts or TKOs or whatever you want to call them were not against elite competition. Now, for you guys to understand what I mean by elite competition versus good competition or just bums, because I'll admit Deontay Wilder fights a lot of bums, okay? I mean, when he says he calls out bomb squad, he really is talking about a lot of bums. But elite competition is where you have fighters who become world champions and stay world champions for a very long time. You have to be an elite athlete to do that. And you'll find out as we go through this video things about elite athletes. So Deontay Wilder fought Bermane Stiverne, who's an elite athlete. He was unable to knock him out. Okay, so really this KO ratio is against people who are subpar. They're not elite athletes. They're not great athletes. And in that case, his knockout ratio is just a lot of fluff. Gennady Golovkin. Well, we know Gennady Golovkin hasn't faced elite competition. Okay, the closest thing he's faced that was elite competition so far has been Kell Brook, but Kell Brook is not in his weight class, so you can't count that, and David Lemieux. That's the closest thing. And David Lemieux is not an elite athlete. When we say elite, we're talking A-level athlete. We're talking about the top of the top, the creme of the creme, the cream of the crop. And David Lemieux is not that. So he knocked out David Lemieux. So he also, like Deontay Wilder, his knockout ratio is just an inflated ratio. He hasn't really fought the top guys. And David Lemieux became world champion, no doubt, but he never defended to show his elite status. He didn't defend for a pretty long time. And even if you don't become world champion, because we're going to go through time, you beating a lot of really good fighters can also determine if you're an elite athlete, especially if you beat guys who were either former world champions or were world champions. That also signifies that you're elite. And today's elite athletes, it's very hard to knock them out. Because today's elite athletes, especially today's they have nutrition and they have they are conditioned so well that it's very hard to knock them out. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Has he ever knocked out an elite athlete? Let's look at his career here. And the answer to that question is no. He's never knocked out. Now, I'm not talking about TKO now. I'm talking about knocked out, KO'd. and he's never done that. He's never KO'd anyone. People have retired hurt and stuff, but even so, they were at the end of their careers. The elite athletes we're talking about. No, he's never done it. All right. Manny Pacquiao. I can tell you right now, Manny Pacquiao did not knock out, but he did stop some elite athletes in his career. Okay. One of the elite athletes I'm talking about is Miguel Cotto. The problem with this was Miguel Cotto was weight drained, so we can't really acknowledge that. He did literally knocked out Ricky Hatton, and that was very impressive. Yes, Ricky Hatton was coming off of a Mayweather knockout TKO, but nonetheless, he did knock out Ricky Hatton. Mayweather caught him with a check hook, and Manny Pacquiao caught him with the left hook. That's how he got Ricky Hatton knocked out. Both show that Ricky Hatton was susceptible to the left hook. I think Louis Collazo also caught him with a left hook as well that put down Ricky Hatton, if I'm not mistaken. Ricky Hatton had dropped Louis Collazo twice early on in the fight. Let's see. Other than that, another elite athlete, Manny Pacquiao, he TKO'd. He didn't KO. He never KO'd Eric Morales. He TKO'd Eric Morales, but again, Eric Morales was weight drained, so you can't really count those either. So Pacquiao did KO an elite athlete in Ricky Hatton. That's it. It's just one. Just one. Okay. Julio Cesar Chavez. As we go backwards in time, you're going to find more elite athletes being KO'd because they're not as well conditioned as the athletes today. It's just what it is. Sports medicine has become better. See, who did Chavez beat that was an elite athlete here? Costa was elite. He was not able to stop him. De La Hoya was elite. He was not able to stop him. Angel Gonzalez was elite. He was not able to stop him. Tony the Tiger Lopez was elite. He was able to stop him. He was not able to knock him out, but he was able to stop him. Mildred Taylor was another elite athlete. He was able to stop him, not knock him out. Pernell Whitaker was elite. He was not able to stop him. Greg Hogan, he was able to stop, and that was an elite athlete as well. But again, no knockouts. He was not able to stop Hector Camacho. Mildred Taylor should have won this fight here. He knocked down Mildred Taylor, but the ref stopped the fight, so you can't count this one either. I'm looking for at least one. He caused Roger Mayweather to retire in the 10th. I think he has one fighter who's elite, which would have been Roger Mayweather. It says TKO in the second, but he actually knocked him out. He knocked out Roger Mayweather. Roger got back up on his feet. I think there's one elite athlete, let's say, the Chavez was able to knock out, and that would be Roger Mayweather. Roberto Duran. Let's see here. Okay, Esteban Jesus was considered an elite athlete in his time. I don't include Ken Buchanan because basically Roberto Duran hit Ken Buchanan in his nuts, so you can't call that a knockout or anything, so that's not counted. Esteban Jesus was an elite athlete. All these other guys weren't. And he didn't knock them out either, so. He did stop Esteban Jesus, and I think you should call that a knockout. So that's the elite athlete he stopped. That's really about it. That's really about it. Yeah, that really is about it. He never stopped anybody else. He never knocked out anybody else. So, just one. Sugar Ray Leonard. We know Sugar Ray Leonard knocked out some elite athletes, so let's just get to it. We don't call the Roberto Duran because Roberto Duran quit. That's not knocking out somebody. Thomas Hearns, that was actually a knockout. That wasn't a TKO. So that's one. Now, we don't count Donnie Lalonde because Donnie Lalonde was at a catch weight. He was coming down. And as the fight went on, obviously Donnie Lalonde would get weaker. So I would not count that. That's it. He's got one, which is Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Even though it says it's TKO, he really knocked him out. Muhammad Ali. I'm showing you how rare it is. How much knockout ratios show that the guy has power in his hands. But again, it's who you knock out. Okay, Sonny Liston definitely was an elite athlete for his time. So that's one. He did knock out Floyd Patterson. Literally, he knocked him out. He got up on his feet and stuff, but he did knock out Floyd Patterson. That's two. Can't count Bob Foster, but Bob Foster was a very much an elite athlete. He's just too small. They can't count him. Knocked out George Foreman, who definitely was an elite athlete. That is four, I believe. Four. We got four. And that's a lot. That's a lot. Muhammad Ali knocked out four elite athletes. Of course, the conditioning of the athletes was different to today, but the point is, he knocked out four. That's a lot. And you know what's amazing? Look at his knockout ratio. So let's compare his knockout ratio to Sugar Ray Leonard, to Roberto Duran. Okay, Roberto Duran's his last. That's about it there. Julio Cesar Chavez has a high knockout ratio. He only got one. Manny Pacquiao got one. His knockout ratio reflects that. Mayweather has none. Gennady Golovkin has none. Deontay Wilder has none. Okay? So really, Duran reflects truly his knockout ratio. Leonard reflects truly his knockout ratio. Both of them have one. Muhammad Ali, his percentage actually doesn't reflect the amount of top class, top tier guys. He had four. Okay? And George Foreman. Well, he's got one in Michael Moore. Literally knocked out Michael Moore. Outsmarted him and knocked him out. That's a clear knockout there. And one punch knockout power too. What else we got here? Bert Cooper. Well, he was retired, so again. Let's keep this going here. Now, Dwight Muhammad Qawi would have been a good one, but Qawi, as we know, was a light heavyweight, really. Or cruiserweight, I think he was. Came in from Cruiser, so I'm not going to count that one. Alright, this boy literally knocked out Joe Frazier. Okay. Knocked him out, stink. So, that's 2. You're wondering why I don't count Ron Lyle, right? Ken Norton, I gotta include him. He knocked him out, stink as well. So, it is what it is. That's 3. Oh, he did Frazier in twice. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's terrible. That's 3. Okay. So Foreman's got 3. Ali's got 4. Leonard's got 1. Duran's got 1. Chavez got 1. Pacquiao's got 1. Mayweather doesn't. Gennady Golovkin doesn't. And Deontay Wilder doesn't. And the whole point behind this is to show you that knockout percentages don't mean nothing if you're not knocking out elite fighters. It says you got power in your hand, but it doesn't say that you can set up. And notice, Muhammad Ali, strangely, Muhammad Ali was not the most powerful heavyweight. In fact, he wasn't the biggest puncher, but what Muhammad Ali did was he would beat you up, and the accumulation of punishment would take you out. George Foreman had real power. This percentage really does reflect what George Foreman could do. He really had punching power. In fact, he took out Michael Moore with 1 punch, I believe. Knocked him out cold. Okay? Really messed up Joe Frazier as well. Muhammad Ali used smarts to knock out his opponents. And I'm talking about the elite ones. He didn't have that concussive power. He had smarts. I'm not saying Foreman didn't have smarts as well. He outsmarted, of course, Michael Moore, right? And he did have some good boxing skills, don't get me wrong, but he had heavy hands. Muhammad Ali, however, he used smarts to get his knockouts, okay? And at that level, you have to have that kind of smarts. With Sugar Ray Leonard, the same thing. He used smarts. Unfortunately for him, his only notable knockout is Thomas Hearns, which he fought early on in his career. But when he rematched Thomas Hearns, Hearns actually got the better of him, dropping him twice. Okay, and in a fight, arguably, that you could say Hearns won. So it's up to you. Ray did come back though. Roberto Duran, his only elite fighter that he knocked out was De Jesus, okay, Esteban De Jesus. He knocked him out twice, actually, in the consecutive fights. Julio Cesar Chavez, what was his knockout win? It was against, what's his name? Mildred Taylor. He stopped him in the 12th round. Basically knocked him out. You know, that's the only elite fighter I think I said that Julio Cesar Chavez was able to beat. All the other elite fighters, he never really. Oh, did I say Roger Mayweather? It's either Roger Mayweather and probably Mildred Taylor. Roger Mayweather and Mildred Taylor. So he had 2. Okay, he had 2. All right, for all those fights, he should have had 2. And then Manny Pacquiao, he had 1. And Mayweather had 9, Gennady Golovkin had 9, and Deontay Wilder had 9. And it doesn't say that they don't have punching power. It just means when you reach elite level, those numbers don't mean squat, because you're not going to just get an elite fighter out of there. Look at Sean Porter. He mowed over Paulie Malignaggi, right? Couldn't mow over Keith Thurman, right? He couldn't mow over Adrian Broner, right? And I'm just saying, as much as you talk about guys with punching power and all of that, punching power means very little when you get to the elite level. You gotta have a hell of a lot more than punching power. You gotta be able to set up shots and set up how you're gonna get your opponent out of there. That's why I said Joe Smith Jr. when he knocked out, and to me he knocked out Bernard Hopkins. And what I mean by that is mentally he knocked him out. Bernard Hopkins was not going back into that ring. Once Joe Smith Jr. knocked him out the ring, and he clearly knocked him out the ring. It's like, you know, I'm not saying the blow hurt Hopkins per se, even though Hopkins was blanked out for a minute. He knocked Hopkins clear out of that ring. Hopkins got the window not to go back into that ring. He wasn't going back in there and face that boy. So he started feigning an entry. You know what I'm saying? That was a real knockout loss to Hopkins. Because mentally he knocked out Hopkins. And physically he knocked him out the ring. Hopkins ain't going back in no damn ring against that killer. You know that. So that was a knockout as far as I'm concerned. Joe Smith Jr. looks like he could be an elite fighter. I'm not saying yes. We'll have to see. But so far he looks that way. He looks very physically fit from what I've seen. He looks extremely ripped, you know, extremely strong. So we'll see how that young fighter, how he deals. He's tall, he's lanky. You know, he also can fight on the inside, collapse his arms and fight on the inside. So I'm very interested to see how this young fighter, how he pans out as time goes along. But as you can see, we don't know if Deontay Wilder has real power in terms of when he faces elite competition that knows how to handle his power. See, there's a difference between dealing with an elite athlete, boxer, who can handle power, who can even nullify power, and when you're dealing with just, you know, good boxers, B level, C level, D level, E level boxers. All right. So for all you guys who are hyped up on power, and you're in the power train, just realize how many elite fighters these so-called power punching people actually beat by KO. You guys have a great one.